me a civics question. I dare you.
The podcast you're about to listen to may contain objectionable language, adult and or immature content, mentions of Jesus Christ, and unironic readings of holy Christian scriptures. If any of this is likely to offend you in a manner that you find less than enjoyable, maybe don't listen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bob Schaefer.
And I'm Pastor Eric Damon. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to CPTB, which does not make us cuddly plush teddy bears.
That would be such a better show. That's
We
like
are
that's
kinda
like
cuddly,
Care
though.
Bears, but like
Which Care Bear would you be?
I don't remember all the Care Bears that I would be. There was wasn't there like an angry Care Bear? That's the one I would.
There
be.
was, because that is a legitimate emotion also. That's a
Yeah.
feeling that a person can feel.
I'm the angry Care Bear.
I think he was blue.
Yeah.
No, he was grumpy. Grumpy was a dwarf. Oh.
Oh, whoops.
There you go.
I said Grumpy feels right. He had the rain cloud on his tummy.
Yeah, that's true. That's the one. And
Yeah. Well,
I'm not
viewers,
up on
you
my
can.
Care Bear lore, so I'm just like,
I watched a lot of Care Bears, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was kind of all about Tender Heart Bear. Yeah, see?
Good choice. Good choice.
But we are
not doing a Care Bear show. We could. I mean,
apparently we have the talent here, and
we
it would be revelatory
we
for,
just
for
we just
Harriet.
Unpack the power of letting your emotions out to overcome evil. That is not what we're doing, though. What are we? What are we?
We
doing?
are letting our emotions out to overcome evil on Comedians with Pastors Talking Bible, and that is just the thing that it sounds like. Every single week, you and I invite a couple of comedians to join us here to talk about a reading from the Bible.
So basically what we do is we bring people with no theological training on who at least specialize sometimes in being funny, and we ask them to do our job for us.
Yep, that's the formula.
Okay, and we're still fans of what we're doing.
We are, and we've got like a few dozen fans out there. So, be sure you like and subscribe, all of you fans, because we are still doing this thing.
And
It hasn't gone wrong yet.
It
It
hasn't
gone
been
badly
demonstrably
wrong yet.
wrong. We have not been punished for what we're doing yet. That may be because there's not enough circulation for us to be in trouble for it.
Punishment delayed is punishment denied, right?
I like that.
I do too. Let's go with
Yes.
it.
Okay. Well, since we haven't been punished yet, we'll talk to who we have on. We have with us, back with us, Harriet Riley and Lizzie Martin. How are you both doing?
Good. How are you?
We before we were recording, we both agreed that we are alive,
Yeah. And that's
and it was not
Good.
qualified as good or bad.
It's a thing.
The
It's a
game
thing.
is there's still time on the
Yeah.
clock. No, I'm
Still
doing
happening.
okay. It is good to have both of you back with us. We are going to get into scripture, but not everybody has heard from you before. So as we typically do, we talk about your backgrounds in church. Right now, before we were recording, we have a about to be brand new citizen of the country. So we will ask you about how I'm not, like most Americans, not particularly familiar with that process. How was that for you?
It was interesting for me, and I have to say I am aware that I come to the citizenship process with a ton of privilege. And I found it stressful, and I found it scary, and I found it intimidating. So all the way through, I kind of had this reflection of going, oh God, I'm scared. Do I have a right to be intimidated by this? Because this is so much easier for me because I'm a white middle-class English lady who speaks English, and I don't need a translator. I don't look suspect to the establishment.
You're not the target demographic.
No, I'm not the target demographic for
Yeah.
extra scrutiny, although maybe I should be. I think you kind of fly under the radar a little bit, but all the way through it was, I was acutely aware of, and that it's an ever shifting process at the minute. The questions that you're asked are ever changing. The number of questions that you can be asked is ever changing. It's kind of like, what am I going to be asked on the day? And I'm a good student. I'll revise for everything. I did a lot of prep. Like, ask me a civics question, I dare you. And in the end, I got a really relatively easy set of questions. And I walked out, they're like, damn it.
So for those of us who haven't been through the process, what types of, and is it pass fail? Like what types of questions do they ask you, and how do you pass?
They've just shifted the number of questions. I had to do 10 questions out of a possible 100. And they're themed around the Constitution, law of the land, history, a random section on monuments, because I think they were like, we have to make this up to 100. Let's answer questions on the Statue of Liberty. Like, how is that relevant to citizenship? But okay. So yeah, you have to, things like, what are the branches of government and what are checks and balances? And you go, well, it's kind of relative now. It's not what I said in the interview. I think the hardest
checks and balances. Right? Who knew?
God, they're supposed to I think the hardest part was training myself not to roll my eyes at some of the questions and just answer. Straight down the line. This is the role
10 out of a possible 100.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I think of it as the permit test for driving that my kids both just recently took in the last few years. That if you could know 90 of them, and if they ask the 10 you don't know,
but you only
get
have
a
to
0.
get 6 right. You only have to get 6 right. Yeah. And if you get your 6 right, they stop asking questions. You're done. And then you have to do a spoken English test, which again, try not to roll your eyes, Harriet, and a written English test. Oh, okay. Don't be snooty. Don't be like, which English? English or American English? Like, now is not the time for your snark.
Did they screw with you by talking about the trunk of the car, the elevator?
They messed up my interview. They weren't expecting me, even though I had the invite. And I sat there, they left me sweating in the waiting room for an hour and a half. And then were like, why are you here? And I was like, because this piece of paper says I'm supposed to be. And they were like, oh, really? So yeah, they went off for another 20 minutes and came back with like a paper file on me. Like, well, somebody didn't do their homework. Like, does this mean I get an immediate pass? And they're like, no, we're still going to ask you all of the questions. But yeah, it was like, are we great yet? This feels a little bit ineffectual.
That is, well. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, it's you're in an easier, or at least a less, I don't know if it would be easier, but a less tense situation.
Yeah, and I'm not going in with a translator, anything like that. I do want to check, is this going to go out before my citizenship ceremony or after?
That's a good question. This would be coming out around the 9th of February.
Okay.
All right, so
Could you push it back till after the 12th?
we could actually.
I'm sure it's fine.
We could do that.
I'll stand on my principles.
We will go on record as saying Harriet is becoming a proud American citizen, supporter of all American traditions.
Absolutely. I'm reliably informed that your gun arrives in the mail 9 to 10 days after, but you have to pick up your eagle yourself.
Well, you can't mail an eagle.
I was going to say, they had problems with that.
Could they have the eagle bring the gun to you?
Excellent.
That would be the most American. Exactly.
Come on. That's a safety concern.
It's not like the eagle actually lands with the gun. It's like the drones from Amazon and Walmart where it just drops it from a safe distance.
Or it just has it in a little backpack.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, there are eagles
backpack.
I would trust more than certain people with guns, I think.
I feel like eagles have an axe to grind.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I'm not giving them guns.
We'll put the edited version of this one out on the 9th. Give Harriet a couple of days to be good and legal.
Appreciate it.
But congratulations, though.
Yes.
Thank you.
Really, truly.
I'm not overly familiar with that process, but have had members of congregations go through it enough to know that it is not a simple.
And I'm
process
fully
to get
prepared. I'm going to
through.
bawl my eyes out at the thing because there's other people. You don't do it yourself. There's other people there. I get a fancy one. I'm at the Heinz History Center.
Ooh.
So it's open to the public if any of you want to come and heckle.
Are they giving you a type 5?
They are now.
Do we get the, if anyone here objects to Harriet becoming a citizen, speak now or forever hold your peace? Unfortunately, in America, hold your peace has a whole different kind of a meaning.
We don't need to just keep insulting gun culture.
We don't.
That,
We don't need to, but it's kind of fun.
You have fun doing it.
True story. I had a dream just a couple nights ago about getting literally thrown out of a plane because I had like a little rifle that was like this big. And I don't know why I had this rifle, but it was like, so it was like the size of my dad's little cap guns when he was a boy. He had like these little teeny tiny little Western cap gun pistols. But I had a real honest to God functioning rifle that was like 4 inches long. And in the dream, they like took me to the side door and threw me out. But the nice thing was that they brought the plane down good and low so that, it was kind of the tuck and roll sort of a.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You were able to just jump, tuck, and roll out of a plane.
Well, also the agent came with me to then take me to whatever fate was going to befall me. But this is perhaps more than anybody needed to know about the deep recesses of my psyche.
Pastor Bob's Special Forces mini rifle.
Anybody for some dream analysis?
I am obviously not going to get my citizenship, so.
I performed so poorly under stress that there is no way there's no way I'd pass that. I'd end up like confessing to terroristic plots in the middle of it that I don't even know where they're coming from, just out of stress. I'd be like, I'm sorry.
You would fail because they go through, they do
didn't-
ask you those questions.
Yeah.
They, you answer a set of,
And
a
I'd
big
get-
questionnaire, but you'd be like, yes,
I would get so nervous about trying to be honest. I'd be like, I don't know. There was a guy I talked to. He might have been.
given the right circumstances, I would overthrow the government. Like, shut up.
And my wife would be like, what did you say? Why do we have to leave? Oh.
Congratulations in advance, though, by the way.
We've made it sound so awesome.
You're really selling it.
We are happy to have you allowed to stay.
Well, thanks.
And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to use this conversation to transition to our normal discussion of church background. I don't have. I do not have. Well, there we go. Well, I wanted to get over to. So I'm just going to screw transitions. Liz,
Hi.
tell us about your history with the church.
I was, cradle Catholic. So, they took me to go get baptized like right away. I went to Catholic school for 10 years and like very traditional Catholic school. So whatever that did to my brain, we're working on. I was really involved with like youth group and like Bible study and stuff through like high school and college. And then, you deal with enough icky situations, you may become a little disillusioned and kind of step away.
And you just used the word icky, which requires unpacking. What is an icky situation?
I think I choose the word icky because it's not necessarily always things that happen directly to you, but I think a mix of like, maybe some slightly uncomfortable things that you deal with, plus you see things that maybe make you go, I don't know that I love what's happening here. I guess so less nefarious maybe than like.
You see, icky.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes any
implies
sense.
nefarious in my head. Like, icky is kind of like creepy.
I
that
guess,
has
yeah.
a
Like,
has a definite potential context of meaning some pretty bad things happen.
yeah, definitely. I don't know. Not well. Anything like super bad was my family, not the church. So that's totally different. But yeah, I like always had like decent experiences in church. I think a mix of like life was probably not going super awesome. Plus, like, I'm just not doing this right now. And yeah, kind of, didn't really go to church or do anything with it for last couple years. I actually just started going back to church. I don't know where I stand with any of that at the moment, but I have been going back.
What flavor of church are you involved with?
I don't know. I'll be honest, like, I just started this like in the last couple months. I started just going to Catholic church again.
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to go to Catholic church, but I was like, I don't really want to go to like a mega church. Like, I don't want to like be greeted in the parking lot and like have to get coffee with a bunch of people like after service or whatever. And like, not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's your vibe, whatever. I was just like, I just want to go sit with Jesus and pray for a while, and let's see if that helps. And it did. And so that's where we're at the moment.
There's at least 2 big fans of sitting with Jesus and praying.
Yeah.
Sitting next to you right now. But
Yeah.
so it's been a Catholic church.
Yeah, I think I'd like to do something else. Like, I'd like to try a different denomination or something that maybe is like a better
Do you want to
fit.
Do you want to keep that same liturgical? I don't know how much you understand the word liturgical.
Yeah. I do like the ritual of it. I like
Okay.
I like that there's a bone in the altar. I like that it's a bunch of paintings and everyone's a little scared of hell. Like, I like that. I like the intensity of that, But I don't know. I'm not like, I'm also, I wouldn't call myself like a super devout Christian or Catholic at the moment, I guess. But
Because I know I was childhood Catholic, and when we ended up in the Lutheran church, in the little church on the ridge outside of Latrobe, where I got back into the church, that liturgical, the fact that you begin every service with a confession, you have the readings of the Bible, then you have preaching, then you have the celebration of communion, that familiar rhythm was an important thing. You take that out, it doesn't feel like church to me. And I know you can worship and pray and do all the stuff that makes a community of faith without doing it. But being raised in the Catholic Church, if we don't have those steps, it doesn't feel like we did it.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm a little autistic, so I like my patterns,
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think for a lot of people, there's just something soothing about the rhythm of it, but it's rhythm with variance too. That throughout the year there are predictable seasons and festivals and holidays that give variety, but in a way that is anticipated and structured. And I think that really works for a lot of people. It's one of the things that I like about the way we are doing this podcast is based on predictable readings that people around the world will be sharing with us, and I think that gives meaning to it. Knowing that it's not just us who are doing it this way, but we're part of something bigger than us. That's just me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love that.
I do regret that we have no bone in our altar anyplace.
no bone in the altar.
No.
I didn't know that was it. Being raised Roman Catholic, are you in a like Eastern Byzantine Catholic thing?
I know that there's one of that's what they always told us. There's one of them that you have to have like a part of a saint in the building or something. I don't know.
For the consecration of the building.
Something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I know and I don't know what it is, but there's a thing on the altar in Orthodox tradition that the bishop can come and remove as saying you're no longer a valid congregation if you're under discipline, and that's not in the Roman Church, they don't need stuff like that. They just move you along and bring somebody else in.
They just wink at you and send you on your way.
But I don't. But there probably is. I don't know of what it is, but there probably is some requirement to have some kind of relic in the building for a consecration of a. That sounds.
Everything about
my
Roman
childhood
Catholicism
is not knowledgeable enough to know what it is, but it sure sounds
Catholicism
Catholic.
is spooky. That's that's the main point. It's a little spooky.
One of the things that I actually covet about our Catholic colleagues is the spookiness, the mysticism of the laity. I mean, there is a magic to what we do in worship and in communion that most of the Lutheran laity do not have an appreciation from the way the average Catholic laity have. And I have to try very hard to where actually right before we say the Lord's Prayer after presiding over the table, instead of my just saying, Lord, remember us in your kingdom and teach us to pray, I pronounce to the congregation that because this is truly Jesus present with us, let's pray in the words he taught us to use, trying to remind people that we believe the same thing, that Jesus is here in body and blood, like a big thing just happened. And most Catholics, that's just, the laity accepts it in a way. The belief is the same in both denominations, but I really covet the appreciation of the mysticism that the average Catholic laity has.
The disenchantment of the world, I think, has been to our impoverishment. I mean, we have made tremendous gains by rational thinking and by science. I don't mean to denigrate that at all, but I think that sometimes we have not accounted for what we have lost in recognizing that there are things beyond the human, and having a sense of wonder. I mean, I'm a geek. I can get a sense of wonder from science and math but there's something that is transcendent, and I think human beings need those things. And you see it in everything in church life. The diminishment of our architecture, of the art. There just is an impoverishment of spirit in so many ways that I think it's societal and it's in the church, and we are the worse for it. I feel that.
Yeah. I think a discussion of the transcendent is a great transition to our reading for today. So we'll just get right into
Smoothly
discussing
done.
Scripture.
Yeah.
You guys are pros at this by now.
3 years of doing this, you'd think we would be now. So this is the Gospel for February 15th, 2026, which is the Transfiguration of our Lord. And the Gospel reading is from Matthew chapter 17. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became bright as light. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with them. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will set up 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, the Beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they raised their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead."
So we bring you guys on to do our jobs. What jumps out at you? If it was your job to preach on it, what would you say?
Oh, this is one of the big jazz hands moments, isn't it? Where it's like, yeah, like, and the classic line, "Don't be afraid." It's like, but you're shiny, and there's a voice speaking from the clouds, and if I'm reading it right, Moses and Elijah have just appeared.
Yeah,
So there's a lot going on.
And the amazing
But you're
thing,
not allowed to tell anyone about it. Right?
the amazing thing is that they knew it was Moses and Elijah.
Yeah, how
In
the
days
name
when
tags?
there's no photographs of
Just a
old
little-
things.
little lanyard with like a little stone tablet around your neck. That'd be on
That's-
brand.
Maybe
There
it's
we
like
go.
Ghostbusters where you get to choose the form of the lawgiver.
Heaven assigned you like a name tag now?
Yeah.
Is that-
Uh-huh.
Moses was just a book.
I never thought about how do they actually know that this is Moses and Elijah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the commentaries I was reading was talking about how this is sort of an altered state. It's the social science commentary on the Bible, and so they are tending to look at the text from the social sciences perspective, and so one of the categories that they analyze is this sense of altered states, and so this is possibly an ecstatic vision. It is, they're treating it as something that is not necessarily a literal occurrence, but something that the disciples experience in an altered state of mind. And I only bring that up because, I mean, in your dreams, like I'm all about the dreams this episode, but you know how in a dream you know who somebody is, and you don't have any reason to know them, but like, yep, I know who that is.
Yep.
And maybe there is something going on like that. If we have to speculate, how do they know that it is kind of that sort of experience where you just,
They just that's Moses that for some reason looks like my mom. I just know.
the lawgiver.
That's exactly how I would preach it. Let's go weird and trippy with this.
Mhm.
And this is like a reaction to my very loose Church of England upbringing, which is very not altered states. I don't know how this would be explained. And then they all sat down and had a cup of tea.
They didn't get to that.
Yeah,
Peter
they weren't-
wanted the tea.
Peter wanted them to sit down and have a cup of
Let's
tea.
just chill.
Lots
Come
of
on.
tea times, like
Yeah.
a week or two at least.
And then God showed up and interrupted everything, and there was no tea time.
Darn it.
Mm-hmm. No scones. I have no idea.
Like,
if
it's not
like
even,
you
is it even
look
a
like you
real
were going to
church
say
if there
something.
isn't tea and
Oh.
scones?
a cake, get a little cake, I believe.
Yeah, tea party.
Mhm.
So has Jesus told them he's going to get crucified already?
Yeah, actually, this is like he said this, and Peter was not real thrilled with the idea just not too long ago. So he's much more excited about this development than he was about that.
Because ending on the tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead, without any other context in here, it just feels like a weird cliffhanger to end on. So I didn't know if it was
he told them about that,
okay.
and now he's telling them he's going to be raised from the dead, and then on the day that he's raised from the dead, he has to tell the women, go remind the men that I told them this was going to happen.
I was going to say, and they still didn't believe him.
No, the women
It's
showed
like-
up and said he did the thing he said he was going to do, and they said, we need to have a foot race to go check out if it's true. But now I'm just being facetious. But no, he did. They do. It is a part of the narrative that he keeps telling them, and they keep forgetting, which perhaps is lived out in church life, that we keep being told very simple things like love your neighbor, and we're like, oh, damn.
I don't want to love that neighbor.
Yeah.
Do you mean that one?
You mean all my
God?
neighbors?
Like
And-
all of them? All of them?
And you did also catch that there is this thing called the messianic secret. This idea that for reasons that may not always make sense to us, Jesus doesn't want this word to get out, at least not outside of control. I mean, we've got Jesus shushing demons and saying, no, you don't get to talk about me and testify to me. That's not how I want to be known. You've got this amazing experience that he says to the disciples, yeah, keep this tight until after. And I don't have the full answer to the messianic secret, why this is part of the method, but I think there is something for us who want to tell about Jesus, that there are times and places that that there are parts of the story that are helpful to tell here. Maybe it's better to, keep this part for a different time. That evangelism and sharing the good news about Jesus is kind of an art. That knowing the right good things, the part of the good news that a person needs to hear right now, that's something that you don't hit them over the head with a Bible. I've seen people who, their concept of evangelism is bunk.
Yep.
Yep. It's not effective.
That did kind of feel good, though.
So would this also be a kind of like, this isn't going to make sense if you go and tell people now? It's not going to make sense once like the crucifixion and things happen, but this really won't make sense if you run around and tell everybody. That
it might even be
it might be worse.
counterproductive.
It might push people away, or
It's a valid. The messianic secret and is not explained what the motivation behind it is in the Bible. We're not given Jesus pulling people aside and explaining to them why we're going to keep this secret. We just know that he is going to. So that if that feels right to you, that a reason to keep it secret is that people aren't going to understand it. Maybe that's what he was thinking.
I kind of like the idea of influencer Jesus saying to his followers, okay, now, so I just want to let you know, here's what we're doing here. Here's the game plan. I'm not telling everybody, guys. This is just for you, just you and my OnlyFans. And
well, we have that. I mean, there are parables. There are parables that are just in the Bible as parables, and then there are the ones that the Bible records the disciples showing up and going, all right, so you just told all of them that? What the hell are you talking about, Jesus? And he sits down and explains it to them. And so there could have been that moment in the Bible where they're like, so why are we not allowed to tell anybody? And he tells them, but that never happened. Unfortunately, he just told them, don't tell anybody. And they didn't.
I can see this being the kind of thing that is either really difficult, where you are just so excited about this thing that you want to tell everybody, but there's also something that's kind of delicious about the idea of that you've got this experience and, we get to kind of like keep this to ourselves, and this is like our thing. And that would have felt kind of good too.
Because this also like a select group of this isn't even all the disciples.
No.
So they're like the ultimate VIP subscribers to Blue Tick Jesus. They're like, you can't tell the others because they're not on your level.
Yep. In fact, these are the ones that we have heard the call story for with Simon and Andrew and James and John. And I guess Philip isn't part of this, but he was in the call stories that we've had too. The kind of the four who are sort of the tight inner circle. Yeah. And Peter too. I mean, Peter is so endearing in, his heart is in the right place. But sometimes you kind of go, dude, what are you thinking? Let's set up some tents. Okay, where are you going to get your tents, Pete? Just going to go down the mountain and go to the village and buy a couple of tents. What's your plan there? And
See, you said you've never thought about how they knew it was Moses and Elijah.
Mhm.
I've never thought about the logistics of
Yeah,
building.
I never thought about the tent thing. I was like, I guess.
Yeah, you just build it. I mean, they were hiking. They'd have tent stuff and.
Well, isn't it obvious? Peter's like the Samwise Gamgee. So he's there with a giant backpack.
He's got
He
the
can pull a
pots and
tent
the
out of
pans,
it.
and he's going to be
absolutely
stewing a
prepared.
brace of conies before you know it. All he needs is some taters.
He's been waiting the whole time to build a tent.
Do you
And
know how
finally
long
he
I've
sees
been
him and
carrying
he's like,
his tent?
I have
Finally.
a tent.
3 of these damn things in my backpack that I've been carrying around for 100 miles.
Everybody made fun of me for bringing all the extra tents. Who's laughing now?
And even in his well-intentioned tent-making offer, he gets it wrong. Because you look at his offer and he's saying, let's make some tents, one for you and one for Mo and one for Eli. And that is, without realizing it, putting Jesus in the same category with these 2 other highly esteemed people from the Hebrew Bible. And I don't think Peter means to denigrate Jesus, but he has not gotten the memo about the fact that Moshe and Eli are subordinate to Jesus, that they are conferring with Jesus, but that Jesus is the Lord. And Peter has actually just confessed that Jesus is the Christ, the Lord. But it seems like he hasn't really internalized that when he's saying, 3 tents, one for each of you. Unless he's thinking he's going to make a super nice tent for Jesus. I don't know. Or Moses and Elijah, they got to share a tent, and then the disciples share the third tent.
That's definitely what he was doing.
Uh-huh.
Moses and Elijah tent, disciples tent. Jesus gets his own tent.
Mhm.
Or is that that's like kicking Jesus out to be alone?
Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I say, wouldn't Jesus want to be
Moses
left over?
Moses gets his own tent, Elijah gets his own tent, and Jesus and his buddies get to hang out together.
Yeah.
Like when you used to pitch a tent out in the front yard and
Yeah.
sleep
Yeah, they have
over
one of
with
those
your
like triple
friends.
person sleeping bags.
Mhm.
They're
You know,
gonna,
I kind of
they're
feel
gonna
like
stay up
Jesus
and
would have
watch
been into
TV.
that.
Yeah, right? Love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Very close neighbors.
It's a sleepover, darn it. They're going to play light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Somebody's getting their hand put in warm water, whoever falls asleep first.
They're going to have a grand old time.
There's an adorable riff on the Last
And-
Supper there with just Jesus and the disciples all in one little sleeping bag with just heads poking out of the top.
That's the painting we should have gotten.
I mean, and it's very appropriate that the father ruins the sleepover like he does every
always.
sleepover. Come, you kids go to bed. And then Moses and Elijah left.
Yeah, and they just kind of, they're not there, right? I mean, like we don't have anything about their arrival or about their departure. They just suddenly they're there and then they're not there.
This is more psychedelic than I was expecting.
It really
Yeah.
is
It's
weird, isn't it?
Like, it's very trippy,
So-
potentially.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, one of the things that's going on here scripturally too is that Matthew, throughout his gospel, is making connections to the Hebrew scriptures. He is very keen to tell you that this thing happened to fulfill this thing that was written in the scriptures. And in this account, by one commentator's analysis, there are no fewer than 7 parallels to Moses going up on the mountain to meet with the Lord. And he brings 3 people with him. It happens on the 7th day. This reading starts out with after 6 days they went up, and there's just point by point by point, Jesus being compared to Moses the lawgiver, and that is presumably very intentional in the way Matthew is telling the story.
But back to it being psychedelic, I mean, we began with the mysticism of the Catholic Church. I mean, Bob and I's job for this Sunday is going to be to find what is the good news for people now in this story of a psychedelic scene. Why? What do you get at? What value of? And they went out and some trippy stuff happened. Do you get out of that? Is it just a trippy story?
I just always feel personally attacked when you say that. Like, what's the good news?
Yeah.
I don't know. Lizzie,
And
help me.
everyone, and for those watching on video, the poor person that is in the further seat away from me always gets my eye contact more, because for Liz, I feel like I'm being really too harsh.
Yeah, it's a little too.
I mean, unless I'm literally Liz, if I'm going to try and address both of
That
you,
just
I
feels like
end
a
up
confession.
looking
just
over
so
this
like,
way. But the question was addressed to either of you as to what, I mean, we could just get up and say, and they went up and some trippy shit happened and they weren't allowed to tell about it. It is our job to try and find out, why is this still news we're telling the people today?
I think the first thing that I notice is Jesus says this all the time, but like, get up and don't be afraid. Like
Mhm.
and this is the thing, like, I feel like I'm working on in a lot of aspects of my life, is just like the whole like surrender, like you don't have all the answers. Don't act like you do. Someone else does. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've just been to enough meetings that's just gets yelled at me all the time. So that's what I think of. But I don't know. I feel like, especially today, like people are constant, like, there's got to be a reason for everything that happens. And like, sometimes the best thing you can do is just go, I don't think there is, and I'm going to move on.
So what I'm hearing is, I mean, perhaps the good news is things are going to happen in life that are incomprehensible.
Yeah, God's going to do what God's going to do, whether you stress out or not.
We don't have to make it comprehensible. That could preach, I think. There is.
Maybe that's just because I'm afraid of everything. So when I hear that, I'm like, well, that's not easy.
I like, too, that not only does he tell them not to be afraid, but he does that, and it's accompanied by touch. And that is another thing that, you know, the touch of somebody who cares for you and somebody who is reassuring you, saying, yeah, I know this was kind of a scary thing. I'm with you. Don't be afraid. And it's not a scolding, you dumbass, stop being afraid. Why are you gibbering over there? No, it's this, the presence of Jesus, and he's himself. You know, in this moment, all of the revelation seems to have gone away, and all of the things that were both wonderful and terrifying at the same time have vanished when they began to fear. And look at how emphatic this is. Verse 8, and they raised their eyes, and they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. That's like 3 times they're saying only Jesus. They saw no one except Jesus himself, only alone. I almost, in that moment, I get this sense of the disciples with this tunnel vision, and all they can see is this face that just moments ago had been lit up like a flashlight, and now it's just their friend and their teacher.
Well, then is there something in there about that's where in times of craziness and crisis and talking clouds, and which is terrifying. Like if you're experiencing that, then you can find the peace and care in Jesus and in that faith. Kind of coming back to the center, with anxiety and fear and chaos. There's just the one person saying, "It's okay, it's all right." Just
mystery and wonder are great things, but I think that if they aren't grounded, they can be too much for us. And I like that this reading has both of them in measure. You have the transcendent revelation, but you also have the personal relationship they have with this human being, Jesus, who they have been following and whom they trust. And they're learning what it means to trust him.
And the theological claim is that when Jesus was there himself alone, it was still the fullness of God that was before them. It was just contained in a human vessel that was easier for them to approach. I say that to make the other claim that is the value of the sacraments. It seems weird to say Jesus is a piece of bread and a glass of wine, but it is much more palatable. It is much. It is.
You have to develop your palate for Jesus.
It is.
Jesus has notes of oak, and
it's more understand. It's easier to approach a piece of bread and a glass of wine than it is the full revelation of God. And yet our claim is that you are, when receiving those, approaching the full revelation of God. So when I hear what both of you are saying, that there's the fear that is being brought down, I have an opportunity that, like I will often take, to point to the table and say, the same stuff is happening right there in a way that hopefully says, get up, don't be afraid.
And in the story of Moses, his face shines, and when he comes down the mountain, the people are terrified by that, to the point where they make him put a veil over his face, and Moses walks around with a veil to hide the glory of God that's on his face. And there's a kind of graciousness in that Jesus himself veils the glory that is rightly his. What has been revealed on this mountain is truth. but it is in some ways more than the disciples are able to experience for more than just a brief glimpse, and it's terrifying. And for the sake of them and relationship with them, he veils himself. The word that Paul uses to describe this is kenosis, which is an emptying out, a pouring out, which is also actually kind of an interesting communion image. But the idea that Jesus, it's like the way an adult might interact with a child, where the fullness of who that adult is incomprehensible to the child. And so you, out of love for the child, you engage the child in the way that the child's able to experience you. And you know that they are never going to understand you the way you are. And that's okay, because this love is important, and it's what they are able to receive. And they will grow into that over time with you. And the revelation can be an ongoing thing. I find that to be really comforting, and just the idea that Jesus loves us enough to do that.
That, or he needed Peter to carry the tents back down off the mountain. Get up.
or maybe Jesus is like my super bright little keychain flashlight, and he just only has like about 3 minutes worth of shining in him, and then the battery's depleted.
He's got to ration it. There's only so many times he can do the cloud trick and magicking Moses and Elijah, and it's like, I've got to pace myself. This is like, I've got so many more things to do.
He can do it all at once in a big long glow, or he can kind of blink it like Morse code. It's how he talks to the Father. Is it blink, 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 blink.
He's just on battery saver mode sometimes.
That's why he needed to take the nap in the fishing boat.
That's
because
right.
He's like, I need to recharge. I've done too many things. Like, there's only so many waters into wine I can do without having to recharge some of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a stump of mine that everybody likes to joke about. What would Jesus do? And they bring up flipping over tables and making whips. Nobody talks about naps.
He'd rest.
Jesus was big on napping.
Also cooking breakfast.
Cooking breakfast. I mean, a nap, then breakfast, then another nap.
And then second breakfast.
I'm going to write my thesis, Jesus as a hobbit. The disciples
you could do worse than that.
I feel like Tolkien would approve.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think that it's just our general geekiness that Tolkien comes up regularly on this pod. He was a devout Catholic, and his writings were intended to reflect his Catholic faith and his understanding. And I mean, they aren't direct allegories. It's not like the way his friend C.S. Lewis wrote the Chronicles of Narnia that are very allegorical. Tolkien resisted that, but it is very much his faith shapes his understanding of the world, and so I think it's not weird that we keep circling around that. Hobbits are, I think, who we are supposed to be.
I would agree with that.
Good aspiration.
Yeah, I would just say I'm already halfway there. I'm like, yeah. Second breakfast and hairy toes.
Yeah, you see, I can't do all the breakfasts. I'm a 1 meal a day person.
Oof.
Me too.
Team Hobbit. I see
Yes,
you. Yeah.
yep. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
I
Ew.
don't wish to know them.
Ah.
You just you put the food in the face, and then you're done. And
You do
tomorrow
once
you
a
need
day,
more food.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you feed your pets 3 times a day?
Yeah, my cat gets breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
How fat is your cat?
He gets little bits. Because otherwise he goes and tries to steal the dog's food,
Oh my.
which is weird. But yeah, the cat gets, and the dog gets breakfast and dinner.
Now you've got me on the digression. For some reason, our dog, we have 2 cats, 1 dog.
Mm-hmm.
The dog quit eating dog food and will only eat cat food. We've now had to buy a bigger bag of cat food because that's the only, he was like starving because we put the cat food up on a shelf that they can jump onto that he couldn't reach. And he would just look at a bowl full of dog food and
Like, no
not
thanks.
touch it until some cat food would fall down and he'd run over and
Is it because cat food has higher protein because they're obligate carnivores? So he's like, this is the good stuff.
we are
I'm not touching this.
we're at a loss for
dog
why,
kibble.
so I am taking that as an explanation because we've had none other than maybe they're smaller kibbles and he liked the way they felt in his mouth. I don't know.
He's got sensory
mouthfeel is
issues.
important.
Yeah.
But that's
You asked how fat is my cat, not what kind of cat is it. I have a mountain lion.
you know, I have to give it 7
Or
cheeseburgers
it'll
3
eat
times a
the
day.
dog.
I'm glad you're being responsible about that then.
You can't have it going after the neighbor's kids. That's not loving your neighbor. That's not.
Have you met some of those kids? It is kind of loving your neighbor, depending on.
Come on, feeding neighbors to cats, that's where we draw the line. on
We're
this
not
podcast.
feeding. If the cat goes and does it,
Yeah.
that's not
It's natural. It's nature.
natural
That's like-
selection.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's hunting. I'm not feeding the kids to the cat. It's just doing its thing.
If the cat happens to come home with a kid,
Yeah.
what can you do?
So that's not where we're drawing the line on this podcast. Hunting neighborhood kids,
It's
perfectly acceptable.
Fine.
If you kidnap the kid and feed it to your cat,
No,
that's
no,
where we
no,
draw,
no.
That's where
no.
we draw the line.
That's a little
Obviously.
gauche,
That's
don't you
bad.
think?
Yeah.
The cat kidnaps the kid, don't you? I mean, the cats bring things home and then they leave things. And if they happen to leave a child, this is just cats being cats.
That would be the ultimate. When are you having kids? Like when my cat brings one home.
Some people wait for the stork and then others have cats.
Honey, the cat brought home another kid. What are we going to do with this?
Although we had a cat growing up who would steal the neighbor's chickens. And my
Oh.
dad's solution, because the neighbor was like, I'm going to shoot your cat. The neighbor's solution was to get a bunch of chicken feathers, tie it around the cat's neck for a couple of weeks so it got sick of the smell. So I guess you would just tie a kid around the neck of the cat until it was sick of the kid.
I feel like a necklace or a vest of dirty diapers would do
Yeah.
the trick.
A vest of dirty diapers.
Yes.
But you live in a rural place. If you have any issues with that, you just tie a bunch of chicken feathers around the cat or the dog and they get so sick of the smell that your neighbor doesn't shoot them, which is...
We used to have chickens, and because they were just free range, the number that we had went up and down because they were free range, but we would also periodically end up having more chickens because they bred. And so
Chickens do what
so
chickens do.
we'd get down to like 7, 8 chickens. We were up to like 35 chickens at one point, and then we ended up not having chickens anymore. After one night, we forgot to close the chicken coop, and a critter got in and got like all but 6 of them, and then they weren't able to breed quick enough to keep up with the critters that were picking them off.
I mean, that's a hefty rate of attrition.
It was a not good morning.
To be fair, the ones that were left probably didn't feel much like making more chickens. Like, I've seen things, man.
Oh yeah, there was one. They were
Nothing will kill your libido quicker than like mass murder.
There's nothing romantic about slaughter of your friends. I mean, to be fair, male chickens are not concerned with romance too much.
No, they're not. They're
That's-
not good dudes.
They do what they want to do, and real quick too. Like,
Well, that's a blessing, I guess.
I can't be good for anybody but
Don't
them.
prolong it. You know?
We are no longer talking about the Transfiguration at all.
Bob's like, I'm going to cut
Are you
a
gonna-
lot of this.
This is a fun ride to be along on.
Are you?
I mean, we had
Are you-
cats being essentially tarred and feathered without the tar, and wow, yeah,
and
chicken
chi-
sexuality
chicken
and
sexual assault.
Well, that's the good news.
None of that.
Yeah, Eric, where do you see the good news in
The
this?
good news
that on
is
Sunday.
you don't have to be afraid of chicken sexual assault because you're not a chicken.
And they're too short.
And
Well,
I mean, shot myself in the like, but if they were bigger.
I think that's probably where we're going to leave things today.
I think we're We're gonna leave it there today. I
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
I will just throw in, because it comes up every time I never think I've ever used it in preaching, but it's on my mind every time the Transfiguration comes up, is Eastern Orthodox pneumatology, the study of the Holy Spirit, for those who don't know the word. This is used as a passage to explain, to show in the Bible the Holy Spirit having tangible impact upon the natural world. And so this is a proof text, wrong word because I want to give it more credit than that, but it is a text to back up the Eastern pneumatology that all of the natural world can have a spiritual presence to it. It's not the Platonic divide between the world bad, spiritual good. There is an overlap in the Venn diagram between God's Spirit entering, God's Spirit, pneuma being God's breath, is very much a part of the world God created. And Jesus shining with the full presence of God as Jesus and not as the dove is the created world that Jesus became, overlapping with the spiritual world. And that is, like the mysticism of the meal, something I think Protestantism loses a lot, is just the magic of God in the world we live in. So that's just where I like to think about that. I don't know if I ever
Good
preach it.
save, buddy. Good save.
So we'll end with something kind of theological.
So we already established that this is an eventful week here. Anything funny coming out in addition to swearing in citizenship ceremonies for the weeks mid to late February? What do you guys have going on?
I will plug we are doing our third character roast. We're doing
Ooh.
Muppets March Madness.
Nice.
Friday, March 27th at the Funhouse at Mr. Small's. Tickets go on sale end of January, so they'll be out by the time this airs. But if you like the Muppets and or
Do you
wanna...
need a Statler?
Oh, our Statler and Waldorf is Kaylee and Ellen.
Oh, that is genius.
Yeah.
For
Ellen was very excited to be a part of the
regular listeners / our colleagues who listen know Ellen very well, and Kaylee, they will be perfect for that part.
Yes.
How
But
cool.
I am looking for a Sam the Eagle, so I don't know if you would be interested in hopping on. But we'll talk.
we'll
Are
chat.
you able to carry a gun with your toes?
That is it. That is the important.
No one watching the show will know why I have a gun on my foot, but I just
Come and I'll
will.
find it
Hey,
hilarious.
get your tickets and come see him do
That's
that,
just
and
a
then
joke
you'll be
for
in on the
me.
joke.
So Harriet, what do you have coming up?
I am gloriously unbooked and unbusy. So if anybody is looking to book a stand-up comedian or a host, I am available for anything from like a tight 5 to a 45-minute headline set. Harriet Riley Comedy on Instagram.
She's
Check her
hilarious.
out. She is worth it.
And Liz, where do they find you on socials?
Lizzie Martin on all the things. TikTok and Instagram, I post stuff, so please follow me. I need the validation.
And we do too. We are at CPTB Pod, at CPTB POD. And that is the end of this episode. If you were offended at any point along the way, we're sorry.
We always tell you we're not sorry. You did it to yourself. You kept listening.
Maybe this is episode we really are sorry.
All right, yeah, this one we're sorry. we snuck things in on you at the end that you didn't know were coming.
But look, since you are here, do us the favor of liking, subscribing, share us with all of the people in your life that you think are going to enjoy this thing.
Share it with the people that you absolutely know will not enjoy it. We'll take the spite listens.
That might be more appropriate. We'll be back here in another week with more Bible and more funny.
Until then, may the Holy Spirit do her thing in your life.